Hi frequent flower friends, it is Sarah LeBou here at Main Street Florist, back with another tutorial for this month. So this month we are arranging with some sunflowers. These are sort of a miniature sunflower, not the full giant ones you always see. And then we've also got Alstroemeria. Now, this Alstroemeria I have here is pink, just like what you'll be getting in your bouquets, and it's a little tighter. We're going to talk more about that. And then you also have some variegated pittosporum. So what we need to do is we need to start with your clean vase of water. This is a vase we have in the shop that's available for sale. It comes in green. It also comes in a fun orange. I just like its vintage feel. I think it's going to be perfect for this arrangement. If you're interested in a vase like this, we have them available. Just give us a shout. Let us know whenever you come in to pick your bouquets up. So we've got our clean water in there. We're going to start by greening in with our pittosporum. You should have anywhere between 5 to 10 stems of your pittosporum to fill your vase, depending on the size of your subscription bouquet. But I'm going to start with, if you've got a piece like this that's got some longer laterals and a longer stem, we're going to remove any of the leaves that would fall below that water line. I'm going to measure this against my vase, and what I want to happen is I want those stems to go down in my vase a little bit, but not my greenery. But all of those individual laterals are going to help build that grid to keep our flowers in place. So I want those to rest kind of right down in the throat of the vase there. Then as I go in with my other stems, again, remove any of those leaves that are going to go below the water line. I'm going to cross them through that grid to reinforce how I want them to stay. So we're just making a little grid crisscross through the throat of the vase so that when we get to the flowers, they're going to stay exactly where we want them. So depending on your stems of pittosporum, all of this came on one giant stem. By stem, I mean tree. It was a giant tree. You can cut off these laterals if they're long enough. Or if you want to use the big stem like this, we can cut the tree trunk, remove those leaves, and place it in that way too. I'm going to work my way around the vase with my greenery, crossing my stems, and really thinking about the shape of my design as I'm going. I want my flowers to follow the same shape as my greenery. So I've got my height, I've got my width, and everything is going in at an angle, not straight up. So that way we can get sort of a rounder shape. Okay, there is just our vase greened in. Already, you can see if I give her the shake test, nothing's moving. It's all staying in place. Next, we're going to go in with our Alstroemeria. If you are someone with sensitive skin, this is a good flower to maybe wear some garden gloves or some latex gloves while you handle it. When removing the leaves, it's not a sap, but like the moisture that the leaves or the stem is giving off can cause skin irritation, just can cause some itchiness, some redness if you have sensitive skin. It's not a problem that it's never affected me, but I certainly know friends and staff that it has affected. So if you know that's you, go ahead and throw on some gloves. Alstroemeria is called Alstroemerian lily, a Proverian lily. It is actually not a lily. It was just named that early on because the person who discovered it thought it looked like a lily, and it stuck and it never changed. So it is actually not in the lily family, even though it's part of its name. So when Alstroemeria comes in, it's not cute. It comes in really tight. The buds are closed. And honestly, it can be downright kind of ugly. But these are the longest lasting flower that we always have in. Anytime you guys get it in the subscription, you always tell us it lasted like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Because when it opens, it looks like this. It's really beautiful and stunning. And it just takes a couple of days for it to open so that you know when we get this in, this comes farm direct to us. cut at the farm, shipped to us. And so that's why they still look really tight and closed, but that's going to help with longevity. Anytime you're buying flowers, you want to look at how open they are. Certain flowers naturally just are always open. Some flowers come in a little bit tighter like this. You know you're going to have a long lasting flower, or at least you're going to get the longest possible time from that particular flower when they're a little closed to start. But I always remove all of the leaves because that bloom is going to last so much longer than the leaves on it. The leaves are going to start to look sad. They're going to start to wilt. They're going to start to turn brown. And those blooms are still going to look great. So if we just take all the leaves off now, we save a little trouble for later. I mostly remove the bottom leaves. These top leaves I typically leave on. We've got 5 stems of Alstroemeria and 5 stems of the sunflowers in our 10 stem bouquet. So I'm going to go in with my Alstroemeria. I've got 5 stems. So I'm going to work my 4 corners and 1 in the center just to really fill out my vase. And I am treating the Alstroemeria like a filler flower. This is not as beautiful as they are for this bouquet. It is not my main focal flower. My main focal flower is going to be the sunflowers. I like to group my flowers. If you like an even balanced arrangement, you like the symmetry, you can certainly do what we did with the Alstroemeria. You could do 1 in the center and then 4 at each corner to make it nice and balanced. I'm going to group mine. We're going to do 2 a little up top, and then we're going to group 3 below. Sometimes when working with sunflowers, we will wire their heads in the shop because they can be so heavy. These smaller ones we like because they don't require us to wire them. They're a little bit easier to manage. Sometimes those heavy heads, it's hard to place them and get them to stay exactly where you want them, especially when they're wired. Sunflowers can also be handled a little bit more than what you probably assume. If they come in tight, you can slowly and gently push these petals, be more gentle than I am, outward, and it'll start to open. But again, these in just a few hours in the air in your home will start to open. So I've grouped these 3 low. I was following the line of this greenery up here with my tall one, but I just need to position him a little bit differently so he'll stay in place. And then I'm going to come down, bring this guy down just a little bit. What I'm playing with is just getting different heights. Also, maybe turning the flowers different direction. You don't want them all in a perfect line. You don't want them all the exact same height. It just doesn't look as natural to our eye. That's not how they would grow in nature. So play with it a little bit to get the position that you'd like. This is definitely a front-facing arrangement. I've got greenery and a little bit of that Alstroemeria on the back side, but my focal flowers are all facing the front. So depending on where I put this, if I put this on my kitchen counter and this back side is against my backsplash, that's okay. No one's going to see it back there. So we think about that a lot when we're doing arrangements. If you want it to be all the way around, if it's being used as a centerpiece, or maybe it's going on a buffet or a side table where the back is not going to be seen as often. Now, this arrangement is going to continue to be more and more beautiful each day as that Alstroemeria starts to open. So be patient. They'll be stunning in no time. Thank you guys for joining us this month. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments, shoot us an email, and we'll see you next time.